doctrine.
Millions of rabbits, dogs, cats, rodents, and other animals are burned, poisoned, and killed each year in unnecessary and painful tests for the sake of toiletries and cosmetics. If you look around at each other, each one of you is probably wearing something that has been tested on animals, whether it be shampoo, eyeliner, or makeup. The Animal Welfare Act of 1966 has done a lot to prevent some of these atrocities from happening, but it doesn't even cover 95% of the animals that are tested on. It doesn't include birds, rats, mice, or fish. Violations are also extremely common. In March of 2009, the Humane Society of the U.S. found 338 violations of the Animal Welfare Act in just one facility in Louisiana, a federally funded facility, by the way. Primates there had severe psychological stress. They were tearing holes in their arms and legs because of this stress. Videos showed screaming infants being torn from their mothers. It shows the primates being awake and alert during painful experiments that you've seen here. You can see them screaming in the video. They're also being intimidated and shot with dart guns while they are being contained in the facility. It's almost like the researchers are having their own fun with them. It's very cruel and inhumane. As you can see here, these are just a couple pictures of some of the animals that have been tested on. You can see rabbits that have been exposed to different chemicals such as shampoos and other chemicals like body washes and stuff, and then you can see it has burned off holes in their skin. Here you see beagles being tested on through forced in. They're also oftentimes they're forced to be fed. They're physically restrained for days and weeks at a time. They're forced to inhale different chemicals. They're forced to eat different foods. They're forced to do food and water deprivation. Here you can see beagles being exposed to different chemicals, and they're forced to inhale them. Beagles are often used for testing because of their small and passive nature. Burns and other wounds are inflicted on animals to study the healing processes of different chemicals and medicines. A really common test that they use is the Dre's eye test. Right here you can see this rabbit has been exposed to eyeliner or other makeups, and it can often lead to permanent damage to the eyeball. Rabbits are used very often because they have a similar eye structure as humans do, and they're often forced to have their eyes clipped open while these chemicals are in their eyes to see how it affects their eyes and stuff. Another common test is the Ld50 test, which is used especially whenever they're testing medicines and everything. And this test is basically, they give this medicine to a group of participants, usually primates, and they see what the lethality rate in it is, and they see how much of the chemical is required to kill 50% of the participants. Animals are very different from humans. We are not 70-kilogram rats. It's very hard to recreate a human body system and test chemicals and stuff on animals and think that it's going to be okay for humans. This leads me to my next subject, that drugs that pass the test in animals aren't necessarily safe for humans. In the 1950s, a sleeping pill called thalidomide was released to the general public after it had been tested on rodents. It showed promise in the rats. It was like I said, it was a sleeping medicine, but it caused 10,000 severe, it was directly attributed to 10,000 severe birth defects. Another medicine, Vioxx, was used for arthritis, and it was released to the general public as well. It actually showed that the mice had stronger hearts whenever they were taking this medicine, but it was also directly related to 27,000 heart attacks in just the US alone before it was taken off the shelves. On the opposite end of that spectrum, however, drugs that fail the test aren't necessarily dangerous. For example, hundreds of species of animals are very allergic to aspirin. Reptiles in particular are allergic to acetaminophen. That's toxic to them. It can kill them very, very fast. Tacrolimus was this medicine that is used to keep the body from rejecting organ transplants, and that was almost shelved because of how harmful it was to animals. But it's very successful in humans. Medical breakthroughs are still possible without animal testing. We don't have to see dogs with half their flesh torn off. You don't have to see implants in cats' skulls. We don't need to see bunnies being burned alive. If we devote enough time and money to finding alternatives, rather as we use on animal testing, other solutions would definitely be found. Some of these other solutions are in vitro testing, which is basically scientists grow human cell cultures in a tube, in a glass beaker tube, and you're able to put chemicals or shampoos that haven't been readily available to the public yet on these cell cultures, and it's extremely cheap, way cheaper than animal testing, and it's a lot safer as well. These things called microfluidic chips are also in advanced stages of development. They're basically computer chips that are coated with cells from organs, and they act as human organs, and we can still use medicines on them and put medicines into the microfluidic chips to see how they'll affect different human organs. Countless companies are being funded by ignorance. A lot of people don't know about this kind of stuff and what happens behind the scenes. By learning about the cruelty involved in animal testing, you can definitely help. Don't buy products from companies like L'Oreal, Febreze, Aussie, Crest, or Avon. I know those are a lot of really popular ones that a lot of people tend to use. And instead look for cruelty-free companies. A lot of it, I know she was talking about how she only buys shampoos that say they're not animal tested, and that's very, very popular as well. Just remember that it's always possible to have beauty without bunnies.